Good morning, everybody. How are we all doing? Sammy, United People's TV. And I tell you what, actually genuinely feels like a bit of a good morning. I'm feeling chipper here on Monday. We've had lots of words from Jim Ratcliffe. We've had some genuine action over the weekend. Omar Berrada being appointed as CEO. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody was even mentioning his name because the concept really of taking the City Group Chief of Football Operations was it really you're going to go and do that? It's exactly what Ratcliffe and INEOS have done. It's a real power statement, and it is the beginning of the change that we have all been wanting. So much doubt about whether it could actually truly happen. Well, we'll talk about it in some more detail today. I have already done a video on Omar Berrada yesterday. Hope you enjoyed that. We're going to have a proper deep dive on him coming early this week. That's going to be a cracking video. I'm really looking forward to doing that one. But today we're going to speak about some more details about INEOS and Ratcliffe's involvement, what the Glazers said to this whole process, the sort of shockwaves this has kind of sent around boardrooms in England. It feels like a proper power move from United. I'll run through that. We'll speak about Dave Brailsford. We'll speak about Blanc's position. We'll speak about Choupo-Moting, Onana. We'll speak about, I don't know, lots of other news. It's going to be a busy old show here this morning. Who's here from the member gang? Let's have a look. Good morning to you, Al and Nima. T, you're there. Daz, good morning to you. Josh and Ant and Paula. Stu, we've got Vinny. We've got Sanjay Mania. Josh, Gungshi, I can see you there. My dude. Joe, we've got Kenny. We've got Cartman. We've got Stan. We've got, I'm joking. We've got Chetan and we've got Marshman. Who's on Facebook? Let's have a quick look. We've got John Mort. Good morning to you. We've got Stephen James, Chismo. We've got Amil, Wayne, and Josie. Good morning to all of you. But let's kick off by stalking. I mean, I'd rather not stalk him. That's not really the best thing to do at the start. Jeez. Let's talk about Omar Berrada. Well, actually, one sec. Gungshi, my man. I really enjoyed that show we did on Saturday night. It was nice to see so many new faces tuning in because it was a different time. And obviously we were covering the breaking news. But yeah, no one saw this coming. No one saw this coming. Gungshi, that's a little cheeky 5 gifted membership for Berrada there. And can I just say this, ladies and gents, I promise I'm not lying. Tomorrow's a momentous day here for United People's TV. It really is, because tomorrow I am taking massive steps towards the software being finalized. I'm getting some outside help to get it not installed. I've done it all, but to get it set up properly, fine-tuned and ready to launch, hopefully by the start of February. When that happens, you want to be in Discord, because in Discord, you'll be able to call into these live shows, get involved with me on it. It's going to be great. It's going to be such a level up for these live shows. I can't wait to do it. And look at that, man. Alex, you just gifted 5 memberships. Manny, you just gifted 5. That's 15 of you. Go and join in the Discord. And thank you to everybody who keeps supporting the community, because videos like yesterday on Berrada, the video that's coming out in a couple of days, I wouldn't have been able to do on my own in the time frame without killing myself because it just would have been too much work. So everything's getting invested back into United People's TV to make it bigger and better. And I tell you what, Manchester United just becoming a bit bigger and better. Not only did the sort of news take us all by surprise at the weekend, David Ornstein dropped the bomber on Saturday night. Not one person of note. In fact, not even one person not of note. There wasn't any gutter press linking Omar Berrada with Manchester United. There wasn't any established journalist linking Omar Berrada with Manchester United. And that there is progress in itself, because this is a huge appointment from our club. A massive one. We hear about best in class all the time. Yeah, honestly, you wait until you watch the deep dive video. I've been a big up to Steve for helping with the research on this one. But yeah, when you read up about him more and more and more, you realize the impressive sort of career path that he's had from the 7 years he spent at Manchester City. Sorry, the 7 years he spent at Barcelona, working more like in the sponsorship side of things, business side, then doing the same thing in the City Group before eventually taking over their football operations, and then in getting involved in actual direct transfers, like negotiating with Haaland's agent and negotiating player contracts. We hear about the CEO position at Manchester United, right? And we spoke in quite some length about Jean-Claude Blanc, and I've got a little update on him. Omar Berrada is just, I don't think you could cherry pick a better position, but a better name, really. I'm sure you could, right? If I was to go through and look at all, I'm not sure. United have weakened a rival from an organisational and positional sense in City. Now, Berrada was sort of being lined up as a potential heir to Barigistan. Cheeky. I can never say his name. Jeez. One of the main dons at City. But United have now brought him in. Oh, look at that, man. Pappy. Isn't that Drake's nickname? Pappy. Big up to you. Maybe it's Drake. Is Drake joining in the tune? Joining in the stream? Drake's first album, his first 2 mixtapes. Ooh. Anyway, a little bit of a sidetrack. Lots of you asking in the comments, right, when's he going to actually be starting? Right? And the Times reported on Saturday night that he is expected to serve out some gardening leave. Standard. Now, what is gardening leave? If you don't know, if you are in a position of power, typically in sort of big corporations, gardening leave, actually not just big corporations, but just in like powerful jobs with responsibilities, gardening leave is quite likely. If you hand in your notice, and certainly when it comes to working with competitors, a lot of jobs will have like a clause in the contract where it actually bans you from working with anybody. I think, if I remember correctly, Paul Mitchell, when he left Spurs, had to serve out a 16-month notice period, which is ridiculously unreasonable. It might be. It's a long ass notice period, but it's not. It's not a completely foreign concept. So he's going to be serving out a gardening leave and starting with Manchester United in the summer. That's the expectation. Does that mean that he can't work with Manchester United behind the scenes? I don't know how strict that contract is. I don't know whether it bans communication with it, but the fact is that he's already had communication with Ratcliffe, had meetings with Ratcliffe and INEOS. And I'm going to run through some more of the details there. And that's coming from here. And look, this is where we find out a little bit more information. This is from Mike Keegan in the Daily Mail, saying that they understand that the first approach for Berrada was made by Brailsford in December. Then he had a meeting with Ratcliffe, and Ratcliffe and Brailsford went to the Glazers and said, look, this is our guy. And that right there, ladies and gents, I'm gonna speak about this in a little bit more detail as we go through the show. But for the last couple of weeks, I've been really impressed with the words from Ratcliffe. The actions of meeting all the Old Trafford staff, that was something that sort of, it was a lot of what Ratcliffe's done these first 2 weeks for anybody who's pessimistic is just, oh, it's PR, nothing but PR. PR this, PR that. Spin, spin, yawn, yawn, yawn. But a lot of what he's done in these first 2 weeks has been very good from a PR perspective, because he has been establishing a relationship with the staff at Old Trafford, establishing a relationship with communication with fans. That's what this first 2 weeks has been. But for a lot of United fans, nobody wants to hear any of it until action is made. How about getting the CEO appointed before he's even legally a 25% owner of our football club? How's that for action? And not only that, and as I said before, the CEO position was one where the Glazers needed to be consulted. Hence why a summit, whatever you want. A meeting was had with the Glazers before the Berrada appointment was made. He's effectively, he's a new Ed Woodward in the role that he has. CEO, somebody who's going to be involved in transfers, somebody who's going to be involved probably in signings in terms of signing them off and involved in the overall vision of the club. But he could not be, his CV could not be any different. It really is a best in class appointment. And it's a massive show of power from Ratcliffe and INEOS. Oh, they're only going to be 25% owners of Manchester United. They're not going to be able to do anything. Jim is just another Glazer. Glazer 2.0. Yawn, yawn, yawn. And I've dealt with so much stick. So much. Right? So many people seem to be personally and deeply offended by the fact that the Qataris didn't take over Manchester United, by the fact that they didn't offer enough for us. But no, look, they've told Mike Keegan that they're going to be. Honestly, I couldn't give a toss. I couldn't give a toss about anything to do with Sheikh Jassim anymore. And until maybe we'll have a conversation on here if he actually launches a legal opposition rather than just getting on the phone to a journalist and going wah wah, which is effectively what he's done so far. But that right there is a real indication of power, of actual genuine influence at the club. Because that's why the Glazers sold. They sold part of Manchester United, sold all of the football operational control because they can't do it. They've never been able to do it. They needed investment at the same time. And yeah, I've been cautiously optimistic since that first week, really. And you know what was a massive thing as well? And I'll reiterate this. That needs to be highlighted and put on the wall inside Carrington. This is a statement from Manchester United on the appointment of our new CEO. And there's nothing here about mixed messages. The club is determined to put football and performance on the pitch back at the heart of everything we do. AKA, the club has not had football and performance on the pitch at the heart of everything we do for a long time. Manchester United has not been operating properly. This is the start of a shift in that direction. And it is only the start, right? I'm not saying Omar Berrada is going to come in, oh, great, we're going to win the treble. We're years off that. But I wanted United to sign a defensive midfielder for years and years and years, and I've been screaming about the structure of our club. But no change was ever truly going to come until the Glazers didn't have control and power. It's not gone down the way we really thought it would, in any way, shape, or form. If anybody had predictions, look, to be fair, some people may have had the predictions about minority investment being what the Glazers ultimately went towards. That was always a possibility. From when Ratcliffe came in with the 69%, I didn't really know that it would go down this path here. And will it just be words? Well, no. It's going to be actions. Big actions as well. Because this guy... I have done a deep dive video on Jean-Claude Blanc previously, right? And because on paper, he looked like an incredible choice for the CEO of Manchester United from the work that he did back in France with it wasn't the Olympic team. That was Dave Brailsford. He worked inside tennis. He worked in TV. And then he went across to Juventus. And that was his first venture into sport, helping them build their new stadium, helping them sort of with the finance. They went there when they just got relegated and they're financially all over the shop. He helped them stabilize, moved on, went to PSG, built them as the fashionable brand of a new era of clubs and nailed it. And then, of course, is the CEO of INEOS, CEO of INEOS Sport. So Jean-Claude Blanc is not going to be the CEO of Manchester United. And this is from Laurie Whitwell down here. And this is going to be an interesting one, because just because Omar Berrada is coming in as the CEO doesn't mean that Blanc's not going to be involved in Man United. He will be. And it's actually a case where we're just getting another football mind to come in. So not only are we going to have Omar Berrada as the CEO of Manchester United, which I can't wait to show you this deep dive video. This is going to be one that really gets you excited. Not in that way. I hope not. But it really will, about what he's done, his experiences, his career growth, and the fact that not everybody, right? But the appointment of Berrada is a coup. It is a major coup. It's not something that anybody expected, and that's why his name was never on anybody's list. As if he's going to leave the City Group as the chief of football operations. Why would he do that? Well, United came knocking and he said yes. Will that be part of the 115 charges? That's going to hang over his head, and that will hang over United's head too. But truth be told, right, I think the fact that we've appointed him is an indicator of how much belief Ratcliffe and Brailsford and United have of City actually getting charged. Either that, or they know more about it than we do, and either way they've got confidence. But this right here, it's not a case of we've got Berrada in and Blanc's going to disappear. Blanc is going to sit as the CEO of INEOS Sport and oversee every decision that is happening at Manchester United. And it's just going to be an extra set of eyes to avoid mistakes. I don't think it will be a case of Jean-Claude Blanc interfering, micromanaging. I don't think he'll do that, because when you micromanage, you might install somebody underneath you, like being the boss of a company, and you install, I don't know, a director underneath you. But then instead of just letting that director do his job properly, you're like, maybe you should make. I know what you're trying to do there, but maybe just do this instead. That's micromanaging. You undermine the person in their position, and I don't think Blanc's going to do that. But it's an extra set of eyes. I'm going to do an updated structure video. I did one a couple of weeks ago from everything that we had available information-wise at that time. I did that one. I'm going to do an updated one now because it definitely is needed. I'm going to do a. I'm going to go down to the comments, see what you're saying. Josh, you're saying the fact that we were able to appoint him shows the breadth of the club still. Imagine leaving a team that won the treble for a project. Well, I suppose, I mean, Berrada can almost look at that and go, well, I completed it, mate. But at the same time, and this is what's really impressive, 13 clubs. Like, I didn't realize I knew the City Group was big. I didn't realize there were 13 clubs. City, New York City, Melbourne City, and of course, Girona's involved in it as well. And Girona, mate, absolutely walloping Sevilla yesterday. I think they were 1-0 down as well. It was like 5-1. My God, I'm going to speak about Hannibal's debut a little bit later in the show. But this appointment from Ratcliffe is, I'm going to do a video. My lunchtime video is going to be on this as well. It's going to be far more succinct than this conversation. But Tony, what you've put there, right? They're not mucking about. They are not mucking about. And on top of that, I'm now hopeful. And look, if Manchester United, right, can go and get Omar Berrada to resign as the chief of football operations from the City Group, then Man United can go and get Dan Ashworth from Newcastle. All right. That right there is a best-in-class appointment. And if we can do that with Berrada, then we can do that with Ashworth. That fills me with a lot of confidence about Ratcliffe and INEOS' ability to bring in the people that they want to the club. Players-wise, it's a different conversation, but when you've got these people, it makes Manchester United so much. Like, imagine now, right? I don't think he'll be too involved. I know he was involved at City, but if we get a head of recruitment in, and if we get a sporting director in, it's kind of more their remit. But instead of who was it last summer that we were like, for example, instead of it being Richard Arnold and John Murtough flying out to Barcelona going, hiya, Frankie, how you doing, mate? You want to join United? Ooh. Like, they're not going to inspire you to join anywhere. You probably want to run in the opposite direction. Whereas Omar Berrada and whoever comes underneath as the head of recruitment, as the sporting director, are going to be able to sell a vision to you so much more than Richard Arnold or John Murtough ever could. And it's going to, so he's going to be now one piece of this new recruitment structure. I don't know how much involvement he's going to have, but he had involvement at City. And it'll be interesting to see how that develops. Now, of course, we'll know that more when we have more of an idea about our sporting director, about our head of recruitment. But it is such an upgrade. It is where is that? This upgrade here, right? Which I know doesn't make complete sense, because technically you could have Joel Glazer there and you can have Ratcliffe at the bottom. But we are coming out of the shadows, right? And people can still be pessimistic. People can still be negative. If you want to, right, with this Omar Berrada appointment, okay, you can go, ooh, he's just running away from City. Ooh, let's talk about the 115 charges. Like, fair enough, man. Like, if you really want to focus on that, then like you go and be you. I swear to God, you go and be you. If you want to come in here in the comments and you want to just sort of like lead with that, like you do you, man. Like, you must be real fun at parties, honestly. But I can't be asked. I can't be asked. I really can't. But of course, you should always have that conversation at the back of your mind. But it should be at the back of the mind. It shouldn't be at the front of your mind. And like, I don't know, it's just certain people, different strokes, different folks, and all that. Akash, you sent a super chat. How you doing, buddy? Just a shame we had to waste so much money before we got to this stage. It's like trying in a bike for an Enzo. Ooh, like an Enzo. But dude, yeah, this is some upgrade. Really, really is. And a little bit, and you know, like, a reason why we're so burned as United fans is because this is what we're coming from, right? We're coming from, the only time we hear from our owner, Joel Glazer, is after they tried to join the European Super League. United fans revolted against it, as did Chelsea fans and football fans all around the UK. Real show of fan power. They backed out of it, tail between their legs. And they released a statement saying that we also realize we need to better communicate with you, our fans, because you will always be at the heart of our club. Really great words from Joel Glazer, but words. Literally nothing more than words. Communication never improved. After years, it was just pure and utter lies. And that is why so many United fans can't look at the words of Ratcliffe and be filled with any sort of hope. They can't look at Ratcliffe and get excited until there's action. The action started, all right? You're allowed to let yourself be a little bit more optimistic that Ratcliffe actually genuinely is going to be following through on his words. Oh, man. United should be able to do this, right? United of old did this so often. We identified who we wanted. We went and we knocked. We had a polite conversation. We explained everything, and we got that person. That's what United should be able to do. Cherry pick the best in class in any area that we, and that's a privilege that we have as a football club, because we've won the Premier League 13 times. We are the most successful team in England. But that's a bygone era now. The legacy value of our club has disappeared. INEOS and Jim Ratcliffe are here to sort of restore that. They didn't they didn't just spend 1.5 billion pounds to just watch it waste and fade away. And they can't do what the Glazers did in using Manchester United as a cash cow, because the Glazers have killed it. The Glazers have absolutely maxed everything. This is the total gross debt of Manchester United. And just look at it from here, right? See if I can pull the circle up. Is that on? No, one sec. Right. If I do this now, okay. So here is 2021, right? And Manchester United's total gross debt is 675 million. Now, you can't actually see the other one because it's blocked behind that Discord advert. But this here, right, is Manchester United's current debt. And that total is 1.157 billion. That's 500 million more in the last 3 years in monies owed. Jim Ratcliffe can't look at Manchester United. They can't, because it's not possible. There is no more money to be made in Manchester United until the right investment happens, not just in terms of money, but in terms of personnel, in terms of vision, in terms of planning. That's the investment which is just as important at United than money is, because money's not been our problem these last 10 years. It's been who's been spending that money. And this Berrada appointment is, I did not expect it to happen this early, I'll be honest. And it's just filled me with more optimism. And something that kind of might have gone under the radar over these last sort of 72 hours is kind of a little nugget on Dave Brailsford, which I knew about already, but I don't think actually anything had really been announced. And that's this. So Dave Brailsford has stepped down as team principal of INEOS. And this is something that has been in the pipeline for a while. So this isn't like just like an out of nowhere bit of news. But Dave Brailsford has officially stepped down and therefore can completely focus on Manchester United. And I've been thinking about the actual role of Dave Brailsford. If you were gonna, I'm gonna ask you down here in the comments, right? What would you put down as the job title that you think Dave Brailsford's going to get? Because I've been saying that he would almost be like a chairman sort of role, but I think I know what it is now. I feel like I know what it is. I'll be interested to know if somebody else says it down in the comments. But Brailsford has been leading this audit behind the scenes at Manchester United for a while now. It started last year. It's been going on even more intensely now that he's actually been allowed to go to Old Trafford, been allowed to go to Carrington and actually meet people and see people and a lot more detail. Ben, you're saying as sporting director. No, he won't be a sporting director. That will come under somebody else. CEO for your future United group, says Danny. And us, you know what? It's not, when you think about it, I imagine there is going to be a United group. That's a really good comment there from Danny that I hadn't even sort of entertained. If Manchester United do follow the model, and I personally think it's the model of modern football, which I don't particularly like, but I think it's a model of modern football, is creating club groups. City group with 13 clubs, Red Bull group with Leipzig and Salzburg and anybody else they've got underneath. I think there's quite a few. New York Red Bulls, I think, as well. They've got like 4 or 5. I could easily see a United group emerging where we do have other clubs underneath one umbrella. CEO, so chief operations officer, board member. This is what I think it's going to be. No one's actually said it down here, right? Jonathan, you're saying a facilitator. I think he's going to be performance director. That's what I see as the sort of job title for Dave Brailsford. Somebody who's just completely focused on the culture of elite performance at Manchester United, of driving those standards. And then if that does actually happen and Manchester United do end up creating a United group and sort of trying to replicate, I suppose, the success that City have had with that, but to do it without, making up numbers. But I can see him sort of overseeing that drive for, because that's what Dave Brailsford has had his biggest successes in, driving elite team performance in cycling. Did it on the track with cycling, did it on the road with cycling. Didn't have as much success when INEOS bought Sky. And that's when all the sort of the team doctor stuff sort of started happening, and the team, and then didn't have, like, is it Froome and Cavendish and Wiggins, and there was another one as well. Can't remember the name of the other cyclist. But Stuart, apparently you said it down there. £2.50 charge. All right, go on in, mate. What's your PayPal? Yeah, that's kind of where I see Brailsford slotting in. So again, if we're talking about minds, we're talking about somebody who has years of experience on the football business side of things, on the operational side of things from City Group, and also from a transfer side of things with contracts, with negotiations. That's Omar Berrada. Then you've got Jim Ratcliffe, who, I mean, he's a co-owner, right? Ratcliffe, I don't think will have too much involvement in the day-to-day. Clearly, he's got involvement in this part of it. He's having sit-down meetings with Omar Berrada before. So he's going up with the overall vision. He goes, this is what I want Manchester United to be again. Are you capable of helping us get there? And then you've got Dave Brailsford, who, if you just allow him to specialize and focus purely on the performance, on making Man United an elite sporting team again, then Dave Brailsford's got a lot to offer. And again, this is a video that's going out later this week. I want to say a big thank you. I've said this quite a few times now, but Diary of a CEO, his interview with them, they've given me permission to use certain segments. So I'm going to have a full reaction video with about 20 minutes of footage from that Brailsford interview. I've cut up the most important parts, and I'm going to bring it to you for a video later this week. And we can just speak about that bit, just like the elite performance side of things. It's really exciting. Really, you can see it unfolding in front of your eyes. You can see that Brailsford's going to be like the main chief with this is my money. This is my vision for Manchester United. I want to see us winning the treble before I'm 80. All right. How do we get there? That's 9 years' time. How do we get there? You're bringing Omar Berrada to be the man, the brains as a CEO. You bring in Jean-Claude Blanc to be an extra set of eyes that Ratcliffe can trust. You bring Brailsford in as your performance director. You bring Ashworth in as a sporting director. You bring Mitchell in as a head of recruitment. You basically make the Avengers of a football structure. That's what the start of this is, and it is very exciting. So someone sent a super chat there. Let me make sure I don't miss that. Anish, how you doing, buddy? Will you be making a hierarchy video on this? I will. So let me try and tell you what the plans are for this week. I've actually been able to sort of plan ahead. No, I can't always do that, but let me see what we've got. So on Monday, which is today, we're going to be having a sort of it's a video I really, really want to do on the fact that the change has started, and we can speak about what's coming next. It's going to be a nice little 10-minute sort of summary of a lot of my opinion, I think. Tomorrow, I want to do a video. This is going to be an interesting one. I haven't got this fully finalized yet, but I want to plan to do it. I want to do a video looking into Omar Berrada's transfer policy at Manchester City. And I might release that tomorrow, depending on whether or not we can get the deep dive done. Probably won't get the deep dive done just yet. Wednesday, I'm planning on doing a new structure hierarchy video with Berrada in. Where does he fit in? Where does Blanc go? Who goes where? That's what's going to go there. And Thursday, I want to do the Diary of a CEO reaction from Brailsford, and then we kick back into it. And then we got Newport on Sunday, so the starting 11 will go out on Friday. What I would say here, by the way, ladies and gents, I think I might be putting back on the Saturday morning shows. I realize I've got a little bit of burnout this last, I don't know, probably a month or so. I've just been living in this room. I've been working, slaving away. Maybe not slaving away, but I've been grafting, and I've been grafting a little bit too much. So I'm gonna pull back on the Saturday morning shows. Definitely gonna have the Monday to Friday live shows, and if there's a lot and there's enough to talk about, then I'll do the extra Saturday show here or there. But it won't be every single week, and that's because I'm driving this focus on quality. And that video yesterday, by the way, can I just say thank you to everybody who watched it. Thank you to everybody who engaged with it. It's yeah, I'm determined to change the game for United video content. For so often, it's just been about low-hanging fruits. It's been about quantity. It's been about pure live shows, which have a certain degree of quality to them, but can only go so deep. It's time for, in my opinion, higher quality video to take over. And that's what I want to do. That's what I'm focused on. And I'm gonna make every other United channel react. And this that video yesterday was like an introduction to Berrada, but the one that's going to be coming in a couple of days, that's going to be a big level up. Hope you're going to enjoy that. Can we, last 10, 15 minutes of the show, what we got going on here? We speak about Hannibal at Sevilla. We can speak about Choupo-Moting. We can speak about a little bit on transfers, but not too much because, hardly anything's happening. But if you can, drop a like on the video. Makes a big, big difference. Oh, yeah, I'm getting the software done tomorrow as well. We got a big old couple of weeks ahead. What are we saying down here? Thank you very much, Big Winsky, about the production quality. It's something that's really important to me. Really, really important to me. And this is it's exciting times ahead. Right, let's speak about this because this happened yesterday. Hannibal, obviously on loan at Sevilla. They were 1-0 up against Girona. And I think Hannibal came on when Sevilla were losing 3-1. I think they were losing 3-1. Anyway, they lost 5-1. And they got a bit pumped. And I've got to show you this 1 second here. I've got to pull something else up here. I mean, it's funny, but it's not funny, right? This is the timeline of Hannibal's debut at Sevilla. Comes off the bench in the 62nd minute, commits a foul in the 63rd minute, gets a yellow card in the 63rd minute. There was a lot of I think the anger softened when the structure of the deal came out with Hannibal, with the price involved, with the buyback clause, with the sell-on percentage. I think people got less annoyed. In my opinion, I think there's going to be there's reports of Dan Gore going on loan to, I think it was Preston, and that one made me go. I mean, it feels like Dan Gore at this moment in time, he can benefit from being that sub, being involved in the matchday squad, training with Manchester United's first team and improving in that sense, rather than just pure minutes on the pitch. I think they're 15th in League One, something like that. In my opinion, I think I'd like to see Dan Gore stay. But Hannibal leaving, Facundo Pellistri may well be leaving on loan. Don't know if it's going to be a permanent one. Alvaro Fernandez, that one was, again, I had questions around that because of the pathway to the first team. But it feels like Man United we are becoming a bit more ruthless. And I think, in my opinion, it revolves around technical qualities. Hannibal, for all his enthusiasm, passion, his drive, his energy, his style of play, I think the technical side of the game is a weakness for him by comparison to the other assets of his game. And I don't know, it feels like that's going to be a big focus point. And I'll tell you what, right? And I've mentioned this a few times before, and I'll mention it again. This Manchester United under-18s team is going to deliver. It feels like it anyway. They're certainly delivering in the under-18s Premier League. At the weekend, they played City in the derby. I think it was Louis Jackson with the only goal. They won 1-0. 12 games, 12 wins, 38 goals scored, and 7 goals conceded. And that under-18s team, whether it's Harry Amass, who I think we signed from, was it Hull? I think it was. You watch him at left back, then you go, and you watch Harry Amass at left back, and you go, well, okay, well, I can see what he's got, some technical quality about him, real technical quality. But I'll be honest, Alvaro Fernandez was very good at that level too. Then you've got Jack Fletcher, one of the Darren Fletcher's twin sons. Mate, he looks mustard. He really does. He's got that. There's something about lanky central midfielders who also are really quite technically gifted with the ball at their feet. Just watching a player like that, someone who's got like a real tall stature but really good footwork. It's a kind of a wicked combo. And there's others inside that team too. Gabriel Biancheri came off the bench. You got Shea Lacey who's coming through. There are Jace Fitzgerald. There are so many. There really, really are. So, yeah, there's going to be youngsters that leave that I go, I'll be honest, I think they could have got a chance. I think Fernandez will be one if he does leave on a permanent deal. But then we've got Harry Amass coming through. Our conveyor belt of youngsters is going to be stronger than ever in these next few years. I think that's what I've been saying for a while, and it's just, yeah, I'm excited for it. I am. I really, really am. But something that I don't really know where are people getting this from, by the way, that Choupo-Moting is happening, it's done, it. I haven't seen a peep anywhere that's actually worth noting. Nothing in the Telegraph, nothing in the Athletic, nothing in the BBC, nothing in the Times, nothing of any sort of journalist of any note. I'm confused as to where it's all coming from. So can someone let me know? I'm curious. But what I would say is, why are people getting like offended about the idea of Choupo-Moting? Dude, like, I don't really care that much. Whether it's Choupo-Moting, whether it's Benzema, whether it's Muller, I don't know who it is. We're just going to sign somebody who's just going to be a stopgap, somebody who might score a couple of goals for us this season, but nobody who's going to get us excited. As I said, we are not going to be signing anybody that you're going to go out and get his name printed on the back of the shirt. He would be one of them, but there is 0 point being like deeply offended. Like, anybody, in my opinion, again, this is an opinion, anybody who comes out with like, oh, United finished, I think you are just looking for offense when it comes to any loan signing we might make. Right? Our club is in the pits financially. That's our debt, which has risen from 667 million in 2021 to 1.2 billion in 2024. Within the space of 3 years, our debt has nearly doubled. Hence why we're looking at the likes of Choupo-Moting. I don't care who we sign. I don't think any of them are going to make a massive difference. Weghorst, I thought, made a difference last year. He did. I honestly don't think, from an overall team structure and perspective, our best football came under Erik ten Hag in that period after January in the World Cup, leading up to the League Cup final. And I'm pretty sure Weghorst started every one of those games. That was the best football that we've played under Erik ten Hag. He might not have scored, but from a team perspective, the team worked. Edgewood saying, where is he now? Where's Weghorst right now? He's gone back to Germany, I think. Is he in Germany? I swear he scored the other time. Is it Hoffenheim? Be a good pub quiz question, that. Where is he? Hoffenheim. Come on. Who wants to be in my pub quiz team? I like a good pub quiz. I should do a quiz on here at some point. Like a little members quiz. That'd be fun. Should write that down. Write that idea down, Sam. Write that idea down. But Chupamutting, whoever it might be, I don't think it's going to be anything to do with Brian Brobby. And the truth be told, even if there was now somebody in that Ajax team who could come into Manchester United and could make a difference and would genuinely be a decent signing, there's not going to be many / any United fans who are going to want it to happen because of the fact that we've looked towards Ajax for so long. And we've signed the likes of Anthony. We've signed so many Dutch players and so many players who had played for Ajax or were playing for Ajax that even if Robbie could be, and I think he could be a decent signing, but there's not going to be any signings that we make in January which are like game-changing signings. And if we're going to do that, then we may as well just get someone in on loan, somebody who's got a bit of experience, somebody who can offer something up front. That's what we need. Martial, waste of space. Højlund, a prospect. Somebody who I think will have a better second half of the season compared to what he had as the first half of the season, but still a prospect. So you need someone who is the opposite. Somebody who's experienced, somebody who knows how to score a goal or two, and somebody who can help in certain situations. That's what we need. And that might be Chupamutting. Yep, JC, if somebody's not injured too, that would be helpful. So yeah, anybody who's getting offended by any loan player that we're linked with, I think you're just looking to be offended, like deeply. Like it's going to be a naff signing, whoever it is. Just like every other January transfer where we've gone after, January window, we've gone after a striker. It's kind of been a naff signing. Benzema. I'd take Benzema, but would he take the wage cut that he would need to come to Manchester United? I don't personally think so. I think he'd rather just see out his career and just kind of stay in Saudi until it really doesn't work anymore, and then he'll leave. So I don't think Benzema's going to happen. But again, I mean, you can look at every single player we're linked with Benzema. You can look at Chupamutting. You can look at Muller. And you can be like, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. I mean, there's red flags everywhere. There is not a signing we can make that will be like, perfect. Yeah, great. Everyone agrees on that. So what happens when you skint and you're looking in the PE bin for all the clothes? That's not really a good analogy. It's when you used to forget your PE kit at school and you had to go into the bin where you put out like the muddy shorts and you're like, oh, come on. 2 different shin pads. A top that's got one arm ripped and then, yeah. Anyway, lost and found. That's exactly what it was. I want to wrap up with a little conversation about Andre Onana because I saw him getting pelters again over the weekend. And I watched the goals. I think it was Senegal they were playing. And it was especially the third one when Mane fired it down low to his right. And it took him a while to get down. It was a really slow reaction. Onana, as it stands, Onana is looking more like a Claudio Bravo type signing for Manchester United than he is an Edison type signing for Manchester United. But can I just say this, right? It does not change the fact that De Gea did not deserve a new contract. These two things are separate conversations, people. If De Gea had stayed at Manchester United this summer, we would have had to give him a new contract. And there was no way on earth that was the right thing to do. De Gea leaving was always the correct decision. But Onana, I think this is something that's sort of gone over in my head. I thought it for I thought it a while ago. It feels like we signed Onana probably 12 months too early. The issue was we needed a goalkeeper in the summer. Then, of course, you could say, well, we have Matic Kovar. He's gone on. I think he's on the bench at Leverkusen still. But could he have? Well, you've seen the quality that he had against Leeds, and maybe we could have brought into. It would have been a risk for sure. It would have been a risk, but may well have paid off. But I think people try to minimize risks in goalkeeper positions as much as possible, and that's why Ten Hag went after him. I think the only I would put Onana in the same category as I would put Ten Hag, right? I think the only person who can ensure that Ten Hag is Manchester United's manager next season is Ten Hag. Between now and the end of the season, he has to get this team playing like he wants to. We have to see massive progress in the second half of this season because, as INEOS have shown with the appointment of Omar Berrada, there is no sitting around. There is no waiting. They are going to be decisive. And I think the only person who ensures that Onana is our number one next season is Onana. Because if he goes through another 3, 4, 5 months now of sloppy mistakes, of lack of focus, of losing concentration, then Onana could well be sold in the summer. And that decision will be taken away from Erik Ten Hag, by the way. It won't be forced on him, but that's what sporting directors do. They lead with those sorts of decisions. I'm going to go down here and read some of your comments out. And Josh, this is a point that I've said a fair amount of times. I asked you here the other day. I said, how many different defensive lineups have United put out this season in the league? And the answer was 19. 19 different defensive setups. How can you possibly build? Because it's all about patterns when it comes to playing out from the back, knowing which. 1, 2, 3, 4. When a press comes, you pass it to Shaw and then pass it back to Martinez. Blah, blah, blah. Martinez missing was such a big blow for Onana, but he definitely should have been better. And I think quite a few of his problems right now, are not really to do with the people in front of him. It's about his reaction times. It's about his. It's kind of like the style of his goalkeeping needs to be sharper, needs to be faster. And Onana was not brought in first and foremost. I mean, I know he's a goalkeeper, and the first thing you got to do as goalkeeper is keep clean sheets and saves. I know that, but he was brought in. If Ederson got exposed to as many shots and as much defending as Onana is, he'd make significantly more mistakes. But he's in a Man City team that dominate the ball, dominate possession, and he's there. I'm not saying he's a bad goalkeeper, but the majority of his work in a Man City shirt is not goalkeeping. It's about playmaking from the back because he's in such a dominant team, which I think was the intention of Man United and Ten Hag this year, but he's actually faced so much more than he's used to, and he's not done well. And a lot of his problems are onto himself. I hope, in the second half of this season, I hope that Manchester United are going to be better. I mean, we could technically be worse in the first half of the season, but I don't think we will. I think Højlund will have a better second half of the season than the first half. I think he's going to grow in confidence. And I like to think that Onana's going to have a better second half of the season than the first half. But do you know what I said about this whole AFCON thing? It didn't make sense. It really didn't make sense from him completing a U-turn to return to Cameroon. Okay, right. That's right. You may have sort of repaired the bridges that got burnt previously, but apparently he's still never spoken to Samuel Eto'o, and I think there's still like friction between the two. So that was always a problem. And then staying at Manchester United for the Spurs game, staying at United for the Spurs game, despite the fact that Cameroon had their opener in the AFCON the next day, then went on like a 16-hour private journey, which I think United paid for, by the way. Then went there, didn't make it for the first game, was left out of the squad, then went into the second game, and then made mistakes. And it was just the whole thing seemed odd and strange. He wanted to do everything at once, and truth be told, you can't do it. And if you do try and do everything, you are going to make mistakes, and you're going to I can't imagine that the Cameroonian players were particularly happy at his arrival, saying, "Well, what, he wants to turn up now, does he?" Because he doesn't want to let Manchester United down. If he can be there for the game, he wants to be there for the game. But you literally can't be in two places at the same time. And that's what he tried to do. It didn't work. And unfortunately, it's created another problem for him. So I think by trying to please everybody and trying to do everything, he's actually not helping himself. And he's got to do that. I want to see Bayindi against Newport. I think even if Cameroon go out of AFCON, I think I would like to see Bayindi. I think Bayindi's been working. I mean, I don't know how hard he's been working, but I'm just going to presume that he's been working hard in training, and he deserves that chance. I'm really looking forward to that game against Newport, by the way. First of all, I love watching United in small environments like that, like 7,500 capacity. It's wicked. The camera angles you get, it's just a different vibe and a different feel. And also, we'll see Martinez start. I think we'll see Casemiro start. Looking forward to it, actually. But yeah, Onana, a lot of the issues that have happened have been down to his mistakes and how that shattered his confidence, and that's down to his own individual errors. A lot of the problems have been in the team setup and the defensive setup. He hasn't helped himself a lot of the time. I don't think United have this season either. So he's very symptomatic of a United team which has been shocking because he's been part of it. Tony is saying the way this has been handled must have dented Bayindi's confidence, and I think so. I mean, it must have done up until this point, and that's why I would really like to, no matter what happens, let Bayindi start against Newport. I'd like to see that anyway. But can I just say, I look forward to these shows every morning. Well, I love doing the research. I love chatting to you. I feel we do things differently here on United People's TV that gives us our own distinct personality. And I think that's why the comments here are so good. The chat it's part of it. The community is part of it. I'm going to wrap that up for today. I'm going to get to work on my lunchtime video, which is a nice short 6-inch. They're always like 10 minutes long-ish. And I want to explain. Yeah, I'll explain a few more things. There's quite a bit more information here that I haven't included in that. There's more coming out. Thank you all for tuning in. Gungshi, who gifted some memberships there? Let's try and find some names. We've got Gungshi. Patrick, you joined as a new member. I think you joined as a legend before the show started. How you doing, man? Nice to see you there. Gungshi, Alex, Mania, and Pappy have all gifted memberships. Thank you all. I'll be here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. And the content we've got going out this week, it's going to genuinely be worth subscribing. All right? So much love. I'll speak to you all soon.